Next video, the downfall of the new Super Mario Brothers by SF Productions.
The new Super Mario Bros. Series is a fan-favorite side series in the Mario franchise. From the latter half of the 2000s to the early 2010s, the new Super Mario Bros. Series populated every Nintendo console. The DS, Wii, 3DS, Wii U, and eventually Switch all had entries in the series. However, after a certain time, the new Super Mario Bros. Series became stale. What was once created to be a reinvention of 2D Mario turned into a generic eyesore for any new Nintendo console that came out. Nintendo just kept pumping these things out, and
they were pretty relevant. They came out with new ones like every year. Dude, because they made the Super Mario Bros. U, then they made the new Super Mario Bros., and then they made the Mario Wonder. Kept releasing these things. Not that they were all bad, but I feel like if you're gonna make a good side scroller, I feel like they could focus more on the stuff that they were making. I think the thing with Nintendo, and I don't really want to say this because I think Nintendo's a great company. I do think they can be a little greedy when it comes to games. Have you seen Mario Kart World, dude? That was like $90. I think the main genre of Mario has been side scrollers. I think what they just keep doing is they focus more on trying to get them out and trying to get the money than actually focusing on the game itself. Because Wonder was great, but I think they focused a lot more on Wonder than they did on really any other side scroller.
at one point, they even released 2 games in 1 year with no drastic changes or new features. And eventually, Nintendo killed off the series altogether by reinventing 2D Mario again with Super Mario Wonder.
Okay.
So let's start from the...
I wouldn't say killed off. I feel like killed off's a little extreme. I feel like they did great with Super Mario Wonder. I thought Super Mario Wonder was fun. I feel like they did put a lot into it, which I feel like was a little overused and became a whole lot to understand, and they added new power-ups and everything. Dude, it's a 2D Mario game. What more could you want than talking plants? Come on, bro.
Very beginning, and work our way up to the downfall of New Super Mario Bros. Back in 2006, the state of 2D Mario was in a pretty rough spot. There had not been an original 2D adventure since the Game Boy days with Super Mario Land 2, so it's safe to say that we were long overdue for a new 2D game. Bring in the DS, Nintendo's successful gaming handheld that was released a couple of...
One of the best gaming controller stuff. I never had a DS. I had a 3DS, but all I know is that the DSs and 3DS did great. I think, in my opinion, that the 3DS was one of the best consoles they've ever created, besides the Switch and the Wii.
Years prior in 2004. This thing was so damn popular with every demographic, mainly due to its accessibility. So Nintendo got to thinking, what if we brought a new 2D Mario game to the system that markets itself sort of as a return to form for the series, as it would be taking aspects from the original 2D games. And thus, New Super Mario Bros. Was born. On May 15th, 2006, New Super Mario Bros. Was released for the Nintendo DS. The name New is indicative of the fact that while this is similar to 2D Mario games that everyone was already used to, it completely reinvents what a 2D Mario game plays like. The idea here was to take the same design philosophy of the original 2D Mario games, with the linear level design and streamlined gameplay, but also incorporate aspects from 3D Mario games. That's why New Super Mario Bros. Includes moves like the wall jump, triple jump, and ground pound. So in a sense, New Super Mario Bros. Was the first game to translate a linear 3D Mario game in it.
Which, didn't it do good too? Wasn't this one of the, for the DS, one of the most popular games that came out? Because this was, like you said, the first 3D game to implement that into a 2D game. You have the 5D.
A 2D setting, and with all these new moves at your disposal, it gave the developers creative freedom to include all sorts of new gimmicks within the levels. The game starts with Bowser Jr. kidnapping Peach. I know, right? Shocker. And then we're spit into World 1. That's it. The game is split into 8 different worlds, which all have different environments and aesthetics. We have grassland, desert, beach, snowland, jungle, canyon, sky, and lava. At this time, these level environments were fairly new and offered a fun amount of level variety. However, after a little while, these environments did become stale with each new release. But in this game, they were a fun breath of fresh air every time you made it to a new world. The level design in the game's levels feels very unique and innovative. The levels are just the right length, but you can choose to take your time with them or speed through them like I usually do. The level design in this game includes many stage-specific gimmicks that enhance the variety during gameplay. Several mechanics are introduced in each level that not only allow the game to separate itself from other 2D Mario games, but it also allows them to get creative with how they incorporate Mario into the world around him.
I hated the ghost levels in Mario games. Like, do you all know Super Mario 3D World? That was probably, like, the newest for these Super Mario games. Because it was the first, like, 3D Super Mario game. And, like, other than, like, this implementing 3D elements, that was full 3D. And I'll tell you one thing, those ghost levels fucking pissed me off because I kept getting to the wrong doors. And I kept falling off all the time.
For example, there are vines to swing on in the jungle world and ice to slide on in the snow world. Every world also has unique enemies that interact differently with the environment. These levels truly do give this game a lot of variety, which was just one of the many aspects that contributed to the magic the original New Super Mario Bros. Game.
They didn't have the Koopalings in this, did they? I don't think so. I don't think they added the Koopalings till the New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
The levels are also filled with star coins and secret exits for all of the completionists out there. There are 3 star coins per level, and they allow you to open pathways to either more levels or item houses. The secret exits found in some of the levels let you access cannons in the overworld, which lets you skip entire worlds. The star coins and secret exits in this game completely transform the replayability of 2D Mario games. What were once replayed just to get a higher score or faster time are now replayed to unlock new levels and items. Thus, the star coins and secret exits would become a staple for the entire series. The levels are also designed so you can speed through them. With the treble jump at your disposal, it is an absolute blast being able to pinpoint exactly where you can chain jumps for a triple jump, and once it is achieved, you maintain all of your momentum. So for the majority of the levels in this game, you are able to completely speed through them with enough practice and precision.
Yeah, Mario games, dude. If you're saying that Mario games are the most difficult, like, games ever, then you need to play, like, bigger games. In these games, yeah, they had a challenge, but if you're calling it the, like, really hard, then, dude, you need to play other games. You could easily speedrun these games. Like, you could speedrun a New Super Mario game in, I'd say, like, 2 days.
That is yet another aspect that would remain throughout the entire series, as speedrunning was and still is very popular in the New Super Mario Bros. Series. The game also introduces several power-ups for Mario to use. The Fire Flower returns from previous 2D Mario games, and it functions the same way as it did in those games. You can press the Y button to shoot fireballs, which can damage enemies and whatnot. The blue Koopa shell makes one appearance in this game and is just completely forgotten about for the rest of the series. With the shell, when running, you'll tuck into the shell and then it works like a normal Koopa shell. You bounce off of walls, break bricks, and kill enemies.
Yeah,
however, once you're in this state, you can't freely stop. Instead, with this power-up equipped, it's fun to adapt to your surroundings in a way so you don't die. This is a pure example of how this game approaches platforming, and it's a load of fun to master. The other 2 power-ups are pretty questionable if you ask me.
Oh yeah, the blue mushroom? Dude, who uses the blue mushroom? That was a one hit, right? That was a one hit. Sure, you jumped high. Like, oh, you jumped high. So, dude, so Big Mario can jump high too. Like, what are you talking about? You don't need, like, maybe you have low gravity. So what? The blue mushroom is one of the most useless, like, power-ups unless you have to go into, like, a tiny space. That's the only reason why.
Mushroom, which is the main power-up advertised in the game's marketing, lets Mario turn massive and allows him to destroy everything in his path on a short time limit. While this power-up is very fun to use, it only shows up in a few levels, which leads me to believe that this power-up was added purely for marketing and nothing more. Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about. Greedy Nintendo. I'm not trying to call them out, and I love Nintendo to God, but greedy. The Giga Mushroom or Mega Mushroom, whatever it's called, it was genuinely one of the most, like, powerful, like, power-ups, and we haven't seen it we haven't seen much of it until, like, 3D Mario. Like, this was a genuine good, like, power-up that they only put a couple levels, but they decided to market it as a main power-up so they could get more money. That is a good tactic, like, it's a good move, but it's, like, 2 levels that have it, and we never see it again. What the fuck? Like, bro. Like, what?
So you can visit the Mega Mushroom houses on the world map, but that doesn't make this power-up any more useful. But it is a cool addition, I guess. The Mini Mushroom, on the other hand, actually has a reason to be in the game. Instead of making Mario big, this thing makes you small, and with it, you get a floaty jump, and instead of killing enemies when jumping on them, you just bounce off of them. Also, this power-up makes it so you can only get hit once, and then you're done. So this power-up, on the surface, seems kinda pointless. However, it unlocks a very substantial amount of content in the game.
Sure, you could argue that. But also, one hit, you jump, like, so what? You float for a couple seconds, but still you're one hit, you're practically Baby Mario, but just with a couple powers that technically aren't even that powerful at the end of the day.
game, which we'll get into soon. Other than that, other power-ups return like the Mushroom and Starman, but I don't think I need to explain those. The bosses in this game are kind of a mixed bag. The mid-world boss fights, or the tower fights, all have you facing off against Bowser Jr. when you have to deal damage to him a total of 3 times, by either jumping on his head or shooting fireballs at him. The real boss fights are located in the castles at the end of each world. These are all different and unique from one another, and it pains me to tell you that this is the only game in the entire series that has unique boss fights for each world. You fight a Big Pokey, Cheep, and Monty Mole in a tank, I can go on. The boss fights in this game feel like actual boss fights, and I found them to be quite challenging at times, which is what a boss fight should be.
Exactly.
Right off the bat, you're thrown into the world map, where you can easily access and play levels as you progress. These red dots on the map represent levels, and once you beat them, they turn blue, and then the path opens up for you to play even more levels, and that's it. Now, you could make a beeline to the end of the game, but if you do choose to do that, then you will also be missing out on 2 entire worlds. If you look at the bottom screen on the DS, you can see the worlds laid out on the path, but you'll notice that there are 2 worlds that branch off of the main path. How do you access these? Well, when you defeat a boss in either World 2 or World 5 with a mini mushroom, you'll take this bottom path to one of the other worlds. Not only does this feature lock huge chunks of the game behind a simple power-up requirement, but it makes it so these worlds feel like special worlds in a sense, since they're not required, but you have to go out of your way to access them. I just think that's kinda cool. Also, since this game was on the DS, it uses the DS's dual screen capabilities.
Dude, that's why I love the DS so much, because the dual screen stuff is so cool. Like, bro, this kind of stuff was so, like, it was just like a new thing. I love how it, like, shows you how long you have to the level, how many stuff you have. It's just, the DS was so simple. You could put in your pocket, you can go to work, and then you can sneak your DS, or when you're at school, you're doing your calculus, and you pull it out. The DS. Pull out the DS, and you start playing with the DS.
Interestingly, most of the time, the bottom screen is used to track your progress in the level, tell you how many star coins and lives you have, and hold your item in reserve. If you tap the item on the bottom screen, you'll equip it in-game. This is a feature that was featured in Super Mario World, and it works perfectly here. It's so convenient to tap the screen to spawn an item quickly. Also, for a bit of added immersion, when you go underground, your main view will move to the bottom screen. That's pretty neat. You can also play multiplayer versus as some mini-games outside of the main game. The mini-game selections here are pretty much the same ones from Super Mario 64 DS, but there are some new ones. These are just a lot of fun to mess around with when you're bored of the main game. And then multiplayer versus was just a perfect way of using the DS's wireless local multiplayer. In this mode, you and a friend play against each other to see who can collect the most stars, but you can also ground pound your opponent to steal their stars, making this a very competitive and fun mode. I remember playing this mode a ton as a kid, and it's still fun today. Even though future new Super Mario games would go the co-op multiplayer route, this mode shows that versus could be fun too. Overall, New Super Mario Bros. Was a fantastic introduction to the series. It truly felt like an evolution of 2D Mario, and with the DS's capabilities stacked on top of it, it made for an enjoyable yet convenient 2D Mario experience. This is one of my favorite 2D Mario platformers of all time. But one question remained after this game was released. How could they improve it from here? The Wii was one of the most successful game consoles ever, and Nintendo capitalized on it heavily. Pretty much every Nintendo franchise had an installment available for the Wii, and 9 times out of 10, they were one of the best entries in their respective franchise.
Dude, Mario Galaxy. Donkey Kong, Wii Sports, I could go on.
Now, when it comes to New Super Mario Bros., I agree with that statement. New Super Mario Bros. Wii was released for the Nintendo Wii on November 15th, 2009 in North America. Personally, this is my favorite New Super Mario Bros. Game. Why is that? Well, it's pretty much just personal bias. This was one of the first video games I ever played, so naturally, I would have some nostalgia for it. But I wanted to take an analytical approach for this video to determine if this game really is that good. So, New Super Mario Bros. Wii was created due to the success of New Super Mario Bros. Nintendo saw the opportunity to make a similar game for their successful home console, so they did just that. And that's how New Super Mario Bros. Wii was born. However, unlike the DS's approach to gimmicks, the main marketing idea behind New Super Mario Bros. Wii was multiplayer. You see, the Wii was the family console at the time, so you mix a simple to understand yet fun Mario game with multiplayer functionality, and you have yourself one of the best-selling games of all time. However, when the game was eventually released, people started seeing way more similarities to the DS version than initially expected. Considering that this game was marketed as the next step for New Super Mario Bros., the fact that it just felt like an alternate version to the DS game was baffling at first. And what made it even worse was the fact that in many ways, it it was worse than the DS game. Imagine that. You have the DS game that nailed many aspects of its design, but then the home console version does those aspects worse. The controls, for one, are the same, albeit with some differences to account for the Wii's motion control capabilities. You can still triple jump, wall jump, ground pound, all of that good stuff. But new to the Wii version is the spin. By shaking the Wii remote, you can do the spin jump, similar to the one present in Mario Sunshine. But if you're airborne, you can also shake the remote to do a tiny spin midair, which can get you some extra distance. This one change alone made speedrunning so much better in this game. But even without speedrunning, this change can save you from a lot of deaths when doing difficult platforming, even though they're real.
Mini mushroom, bro. I will always say the mini mushroom will screw me over in games. Like, dude, I don't know how many times I'm gonna bring it up. The mini mushroom sucks. If you use the mini mushroom and you like using the mini mushroom, get some fucking help.
Isn't any difficult platforming in this game, but that's besides the point. Motion controls are also used to interact with many of the game's level design gimmicks. You got these seesaws you can rotate, spotlights, and so much more. There are also some new power-ups in this game, even though the Mega Mushroom and Blue Shell are no longer present. First, we have the Propeller Shroom, or Helicopter Head is what I called it as a kid. This was the new Super Mario Bros. Wii power-up, and even today, this is one of my favorite Mario power-ups of all time. Why, you may ask? Well, it's broken as hell. With the power-up equipped, when you shake the Wii remote, you get a massive boost in the air, and then you gradually float back down to the surface. It's just so much fun being able to gain a shitload of height with this thing, which practically lets you fly over the entire level. Genuinely. It also made grabbing star coins in otherwise tough spots much easier. This power-up was just amazing, but that's not the only new addition. The Ice Flower and Penguin Suit were also introduced in this game.
Which are the same exact thing, it's just the Penguin Suit can just float on the... not float, you know, like slide on the ice. Like, same power, it could just slide.
Penguin Suit is very similar to the Blue Shell, as when running, you can slide on the ground to take out enemies, break blocks, and all that good stuff. But you could also shoot ice balls out of your hands to freeze enemies, which then allowed you to pick them up and throw them. And you could also swim more effectively. This power-up has a lot going for it, and overall, it's the most well-rounded power-up in the entire game, as it allowed you to shoot projectiles at enemies, but it also allowed you to gain a ton of speed and momentum by just sliding on the ground. It was fun. Now, what does the Ice Flower do? The same thing, but without the sliding stuff. Yeah, I really have no idea.
I thought the Ice Flower was first. That's why I got upset that the penguin exists.
As to why the Ice Flower was even included in this game, all they did was take the penguin abilities out of the Penguin Suit and called it a day. The Ice Flower can only shoot ice balls, and that's it. I mean, it's still a fine addition, but it doesn't make much sense. Yoshi also makes a return in this game as a stage-specific gimmick. If you find a Yoshi in a level, you can flutter jump, eat enemies, and shit them out, which...
Wait. Is this where the meme of dropping Yoshi became a thing? Is this where when you did like a jump over a hard stuff and then you jump off of Yoshi and he falls to his fucking death? Is that where that became a thing?
Sometimes even gives you power-ups. Yoshi is a load of fun to use in this game, but I wish he was treated more as an actual power-up. I think a lot of you can relate when I say that as a kid, I was furious when I found out that Yoshi doesn't leave the level with you when you reach the end. I understand why they did this. Yoshi is very overpowered, and when you get hit, he doesn't immediately go away. You just have to catch him in time, but...
Look at this.
Very overpowered, and when you get hit, he doesn't immediately go away. You just have to catch him in time. But still, it would have been awesome to be able to use Yoshi in every level, even though that wouldn't have been possible in some of these levels, especially when playing 4-player co-op.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's multiplayer in this game. As mentioned before, one of the main selling points of this game was the introduction of 4-player simultaneous co-op. It was insane. The whole family can now play Mario on the TV at the same time. Not only that, they could also play through the entire game together. This was the main thing that set Mario Wii apart from its predecessor. I cannot tell you how many times I played this game with my cousins as a kid. Every time we saw each other, we would just play New Super Mario Bros. Wii for hours on end. Genuinely. And it was a blast. There was also a sort of competitive side to it. And no, I'm not talking about the free-for-all and coin rush modes, which are cool additions, yes, but in the actual game itself, you can throw other players off ledges and steal their Yoshis. It was awesome. The multiplayer in this game just gave it so much more substance, and I really can't stress how much this feature did not only for this game, but
it's better than fuck-ass Monopoly, where people are thrown in fist fights and just, like, what's one board game? I remember Trouble. Do you remember Trouble? Do you all remember Trouble?
For the entire series. However, there was one slight issue that came with this edition. You see, because multiplayer was available in the main game, Nintendo had to alter the level design so everybody could fit on the screen. How did they do this? Well, they zoomed out the camera and made the level design much emptier. While this is a fine addition for multiplayer, the cracks start to show when playing single player. There's just not a lot going on in the levels compared to the previous game. We still have the occasional stage gimmick here and there, but that's not very common. These levels just feel wide open, which again is a great fix for multiplayer, but I wish there was a way to change it for single player. Star coins and secret exits also return in this game, which is great for a completionist like myself, but the incentive for getting these things is very different. Instead of using them to unlock paths on the overworld, collecting star coins in each world unlocks levels in World 9. Yes, there is a special world in this game.
Oh yeah. I want to point this out. When you get like a certain level, when you get 99 lives, he loses his hat. Which I think is so cool that they did that. And also I forgot about World 9. Why does World 9 just always have to be like a space theme?
That is accessible after the main campaign is completed. For each world you fully 100%, a level will open up in World 9, which means there are a total of 8 levels in this special world, and these things are difficult, man.
Right.
World 9 is truly a test of skill, even though most of these levels are pretty doable after a few tries. 100%ing them, however, is a different story. Some of these star coins are placed in the most outrageous spots imaginable. The hardest level to 100% in my opinion is 9-7, because Fire Bros and Fire Piranha plants are melting the ice below you, but you need to use the ice to collect the star coins, so you just gotta get good. But it's still a blast. This is such a cool reward for collecting the star coins in every world. But other than that, we still have 8 main worlds, and the world's environments are all exactly the same as they are in the DS version. We have grass, desert, snow, beach, jungle, mountain, sky, and lava.
I think, in my opinion, I think mountains is my favorite. Okay, this is my top 3. 3 is water, 2 is grass, and 1 is mountains. Sky? I don't like sky. I think sky is boring.
Them are different. Sure.
And the jungle. Oh, in the jungle, I hate the poison stuff.
Feels slightly different from how they did in DS, with different level designs and whatnot, but the aesthetic feels the same. The colors are also much more washed out and desaturated, which is a look that has kind of grown on me over the years, but it still looks off. So right off the bat, Mario Wii doesn't do anything different aesthetically to set it apart from the DS game. Is this a bad thing? I mean, no, not really. These environments don't make or break if the game on its own is good or not, but as you will eventually see, this is a pattern that will be repeated time and time again throughout these games, and it's one of the main reasons why the series has become stale throughout the years. The world layouts are all similar as well. Each world has a world map with a bunch of red dots everywhere that leads to levels. When you complete said levels, a new path will reveal itself and you continue. This is fine. I mean, considering the simple nature of this game, this isn't bad in the slightest. I just do think it should have been mixed up a little bit. But other than that, we still have cannons, toad houses, and everything else that the DS version had on its world map. The toad houses are different though. There are 3 different types of toad houses in Mario Wii. The first one is a matching minigame where you have to match 2 squares containing the same item to add it to your inventory. This was and still is a load of fun, even if it is completely luck-based. You can either rack up a ton of items in this minigame or get none. It's entirely up in the air. Then there are the 1-up houses, which have you shoot Mario out of a cannon to hit these orbs containing 1-ups. But since 1-ups are fairly easy to come across in this game, I never really bothered with these houses. And then we have the Star House, which just gives you a star power-up. No minigame or anything. That's lame. Each world also has 2 boss fights, but they're much different this time around. The Koopalings return from Super Mario World as the game's boss fights in both the mid-world towers and...
Favorite boss fight? Other than the Bowser boss fight. It's either Morton's boss fight, like his second boss fight, or Roy's second boss fight. Koopalings, they have like... You fight them the first time, and then they like run away after you beat them the first time, and then they go to their second castle in the same world, and then they just use their like magic powers, and they make what they did in the first level that you fought them, but they like multiply like that in the second one. It makes it harder.
Castles, meaning that you fight each of these guys twice in one world. Unfortunately, there are no more unique boss fights.
Ludwig might be my first, actually. I think Ludwig's the stuff.
At the end of every world. Instead, for these guys, You just gotta avoid their attacks and jump on their head 3 times. They do feel slightly different from one another, considering that they all have unique attack sets, but it still feels very similar compared to what was going on in DS. Regardless, the return of the Koopalings is a very nice addition, but I just wish the bosses felt more unique from one another. But thankfully, the game does have some unique bosses that require different mechanics. At the end of Worlds 4, 6, and 8, there are these airship levels. These levels are generally more challenging than anything else in the game, and that goes for the Bowser Jr. fights in them as well.
Oh, I love this fight. I love this fight. One where you wrestle him with your, with that mystery. It's so... It's so...
All of these fights require you to use different mechanics to deal damage. The first one does require jumping on his head 3 times, yes, but you have to use the propeller blocks to reach him. The one in World 6 has the player flying in a hovercraft, and what you have to do here is knock Junior into the electricity. And my personal favorite boss in the entire game is the one in World 8, where you have to ground pound the floor at just the right time to launch a giant bomb into Junior's hovercraft. All of these bosses are well designed if you ask me, so I'm just curious as to why the Koopaling fights weren't like this. But other than that, New Super Mario Bros. Wii still feels like Mario Bros. DS in almost every aspect. The 4-player multiplayer requirement in each level ultimately caused less creativity in this game. That, combined with all of the similarities to the DS game, made this feel less like a sequel to that game, but more like the same game just made for the Wii. But regardless, New Super Mario Bros. Wii is still my favorite in the series. Is there personal bias involved? Absolutely. Out of every game talked about in this video, this is the one I played the most as a kid. So naturally, there would be some bias involved in my opinion. But when looking at this game from a completely unbiased perspective, this just seems like the same game with some minor differences. But unfortunately, it doesn't really get much better from here. 2012 was a weird time for Nintendo. The 3DS was released in the previous year and was doing outstanding. And then we have Nintendo.
The 3DS and the Wii. Wii and you. God, bro. I love the 3DS. I own one. Wait, actually, let me go get it. Okay. Got 3DS. Put down my Cliff Bar. See this? I mean, it's dead, probably. I literally have Mario Kart 7 in here. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the best Luigi's Mansion game. Super Mario 3D Land, the first 2D Mario game. Pilot Wings Resort. New Super Mario Bros. 2.
Nintendo's next home console, the Wii U, releasing later that year. What does Nintendo like doing with new consoles? Put Mario games on them, of course. For some reason, Nintendo thought it was a fantastic idea to announce not 1, but 2 new Super Mario Bros. Games. In 2012, we saw the release of New Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS and New Super Mario Bros. U as a launch title for the Wii U. The problem with this was that even though these were new games, they still looked identical to the ones that came before it. The fact that they were releasing 2 of these things in the same year was just oversaturating the series. But let's look at them on their own, it's only fair. New Super Mario Bros. 2 was released on July 28th, 2012 for the Nintendo 3DS. Even though this was the third
literally a year after I was born.
Entry in the series, they called it the second game for some reason. Maybe they were just retconning Wii or something? Well, no, because the next game didn't have a number next to it as well, so maybe they were just numbering the handheld entries or something. Regardless, it's still a weird choice. Now, I have to give credit where credit is due. This game has a semi-unique feel to it. On the surface, it doesn't look like this game does anything to give itself a unique identity, which is a massive problem considering that this was the third entry in the series that already lacked an identity to begin with. The game starts with Bowser kidnapping Peach, Mario being spit into a world map, hopping into the level and going from left to right.
So funny.
Starts with Bowser kidnapping Peach, Mario being...
It's the same fucking formula. That's just how it is, bro. Sure, it's bad, it's overusing, and I'm not gonna be biased about it, because, yeah, it's BS how they make you pay another $30 for a game that you literally already have. It's a little funny. Like, it's a little funny.
Spit into a world map, hopping into the level and going from left to right with the same controls and design philosophy.
Oh, look at that. Literally the same look of Mario.
Spit into a world
literally
map,
the
hopping
same
into
look that it, like, not even from the Wii. From the other one. New Super Mario Bros. Like, they overused, they did.
The level and going from left to right with the same controls and design philosophy. Not only does this look like just another new Super Mario Bros. Game, but it also outright reuses many things from previous games. The soundtrack is hardly original whatsoever. The majority of the tracks in this game were just ripped from the Wii game and sort of remixed in a way. There's a bunch of doos and bops now, that's the only difference. The world map themes are exactly the same though. They're not different in the slightest. And also, it shouldn't surprise anyone when I say that this game reuses reuses assets from the previous 2 games, which it's fine to recycle things that don't need to be remade, but considering the issues that many people have with these games, you know, the fact that they all look the same, reuse of assets definitely doesn't help. The controls are also the same as in the previous 2 games, Mario.
Which, I don't know how you would change the controls to this than other games, but you know what, whatever, I'm gonna let him talk.
Can still jump, wall jump, and ground pound like he has always been able to. However, for some reason, they took out the spin, jump, and twirl from Wii, which is very disappointing. This was one of the few things that made speeding through these levels so much fun, so it's sad to see it go
okay,
for
but I did like the gold power-up. I did like that one. That was cool.
seemingly no reason. However, in Mario 2's defense, the reason for its inclusion in the Wii game was seemingly to amend an issue that's not present anymore, but we'll get into that soon. But regardless, the game feeling the same to control is not a bad thing by any means.
And this was the first side-scroller that included the Tanuki suit, which I thought was pretty cool.
Just would have been nice to see some more improvements made. The Koopalings are here as well at the end of each world, but sadly all of their bosses are nearly identical to the ones in Wii. The fights still hold up, of course, but come on, man, could they not have changed it up just a little bit? Seriously. Thankfully, we get completely new bosses in the Midworld Towers, all of which are against Reznor from Super Mario World. While it's cool to see this guy return in a modern-day Mario game, these bosses suck. All you do is hit the blocks below them to kill them, and once you do all that, you're done. It's way too easy, and just not enjoyable in the slightest. I would much rather have the Koopalings in these towers, because at least in those bosses you still had to pay attention to their attack patterns. But despite everything I've said about this game, out of every game we've already talked about, this one feels the most unique, which may be a shock to hear, but it's true. The art style and aesthetic of the game are much more bright and vibrant, especially compared to Wii, which, as I said before, had a huge problem with desaturation. This game looks like a Mario game this time around.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's gonna happen. Not to, you know, try to brag again, or like try to say, oh yeah, Nintendo, they don't repeat the same formula. They do. They clearly remake the same thing. Probably there's similar levels and everything. Like, they remake the same simple concept, but that's like kind of how Mario is. You can't really change too much or else it wouldn't be a new Super Mario game. So that, and I feel like they do overuse the word new in a lot of their games. It's just kind of what they do. That's just what happens, you know? It's just you gotta
And not only does
you gotta take the cereal.
the game itself look more vibrant, but so do the level design aspects. We have these colorful blocks in a lot of the levels that gives the game a lot of color, and there are just so many little things that adds to the game's character as well, things that the previous 2 entries just didn't have. If I could put it into words, this game just feels more lively than DS, and especially Wii, which for a Mario game is very necessary. The level design also has a ton of changes. It feels a lot more compact compared to the Wii game, which is understandable because there isn't 4-player co-op this time around. And that's a good thing, because the more compact design of the 2 handheld games makes them much more enjoyable if you ask me. And not only that, but the design with the levels doesn't repeat itself too often. We have a fair share of unique stage gimmicks in these levels, which is such a nice breath of fresh air compared to the previous games. It may be shocking to hear this, but I was kind of surprised when playing some of these levels. I just got so used to the repeated mechanics in the Wii version to the point where I wasn't expecting this game to do anything different. But there are just so many new level design aspects. The world themes, while being similar, are also kind of different compared to the other games. We have 9 total worlds in this game, but this time around, the jungle and beach worlds are combined into one, but the Rock Canyon world theme is not here. So yeah, we only have 6 main
Fucking sucks. So I did not like this one.
worlds in this game, similar to the DS game, and that's great. Combining some of these world themes was a great choice because it gives the game more variety and allows for new aesthetics to be created. And you can still skip through some of the game too through the multiple special worlds. Yes, there are a total of 3 special worlds in this game. We have World Mushroom, World Flower, and World Star, with Mushroom and Flower.
Oh, wow. Who would have guessed? Just like 3D World.
Allowing you to skip entire worlds if you complete them, and you still access these worlds through the cannons that were present in the previous games, but instead of being sent straight to the world, you have to complete this sort of auto-runner segment to get to them, which makes sense. Getting to skip the game shouldn't be something that's just given to you, and these auto-runner segments can get pretty...
What? Yo, I'm hacked.
challenging at times, and when you get to the special worlds, you'll immediately notice that the level designs within them are way more challenging, which is to be expected, of course, but at the same time, it gives the player a choice. Do you want to go through the world normally, which is the longer, easier path, or do you want some challenge and take the shorter path? It's honestly really cool how they managed to do something like that. The Tanuki Leaf from Mario 3 also returns and works pretty similarly to how it does in that game. You can spin your tail to hit enemies, and if you get a running start, you can also fly for a short period of time. But yeah, this is a very fun power-up to use, and it's not completely broken as it requires some skill to use it correctly. I wish we got other power-ups from Mario 3 as well, like maybe the frog suit. That would have been pretty cool. The Mega Mushroom from the DS game also...
I feel like they really slept on the frog suit. I don't know how long it's been since we've seen that suit.
Also makes a return in Mario 2, and it serves as much of a purpose as it did in that game. In other words, it's pretty pointless. I can only think of a couple of levels where this thing shows up in the game.
Pointless. Oh yeah, let's just use the tiny mushroom then. Like...
So yeah, it shows up about the same number of times as it did in the DS game, but at least this game didn't use it as a main seller. Instead,
dude, it's tough, alright? The Mega Mushroom is tough. Tiny Mushroom, who gives a shit? But Mega Mushroom is tough.
New Super Mario Bros. 2 is all about collecting coins. You know what you're getting into just by looking at the box art. The game has a universal coin counter in the overworld map, which is important to track if you care about the cool little title screen differences you can get from collecting coins. But there are just so many ways to get coins in this game. Some golden enemies give you coins, gold rings that give you a ton of coins, most of the blocks are filled with coins. There are coins all over the place.
This is how you get rich. Life hack, bro.
In this game. There's even this new gold fire flower power-up that generates a ton of coins from anything you shoot at with it. Do I like this gimmick? Honestly, not really. While the concept is
okay, I guess I thought it was cool.
Cool, especially if you're into collectathons or anything of that sort, it just feels very forced. This feels like they wanted to do something easy to try and make the game feel different from the rest. So Nintendo was just like, hey, what if we overload the game with coins? It just doesn't feel fully fleshed out if you ask me. I can see why people like it though, because yeah, it does give the game a unique vibe. But if you ask me, it just feels kind of lazy. Was this the best they could do when it came to making the game feel different? I don't think so. We also have a couple of extra modes in DLC here. Coin Rush is a fun one as you have to play through a set number of levels and collect the most coins you can. It's basically a score attack, which is fine. This game benefits from having something like this. There's also local 2-player co-op, which I've only played a handful of times and it works fine enough. It's just weird how even though both players are on different screens, the game still forces you to play in the same field of view. That's kind of weird. I would have much rather had a multiplayer versus mode like the DS game, but I understand the reasoning behind the inclusion of co-op. There's also this Impossible Mode DLC, which contains a bunch of insanely difficult levels. I never played this DLC, but I've seen footage and damn, this looks awful. But hey, at least it's difficult. But all in all, New Super Mario Bros. 2 actually feels the most different out of any game in the series. But at the same time, it still feels like just another New Super Mario Bros. Game. The core gameplay is still...
what do you want from them? Like, it's gonna be the same formula every time, because then it wouldn't be a New Super Mario Bros. Game.
Easy, point A to point B, world map, 2 bosses romp throughout the whole game. And by this point, that's pretty much what the series established itself as. But if you ask me, it still doesn't do enough for me to consider playing this game over the rest. If anything, it was a step in the right direction for the series, but unfortunately, Nintendo made the Wii U game feel no different from the rest as well. New Super Mario Bros. U. Look, I get it. They wanted a Mario launch title for the Wii U that the whole family could enjoy. And if that's really what they were going for here, then they were successful. But for anything else that Mario U tries to achieve, the execution is subpar. But before we dive into this game, I just want to go on record and say that I do not dislike this game. In fact, I like it better than a lot of the other games in this video. But just looking at it lined up next to the other games, it's the only one in the series that has the least amount of new stuff. As I mentioned before, this game was released in the same year as New Super Mario Bros. 2, which does not help in the slightest. Well, let's just look at the game and see what we got here. Right off the bat, we have a semi-different story. Instead of Bowser kidnapping Peach like he usually does, he takes over Peach's castle and throws Mario and the gang to the grasslands. So now we must work our way back to Peach's castle.
I like the acorn suit. I like how you turn to a squirrel and you can fly and stuff like that. I think that's a cool concept. Even though it's like using the same genre as the flying suit and the propeller suit mixed into one.
Does this make a difference? Nope, not at all. But it is kind of cool how it's slightly changed up. But otherwise, it's just the same song and dance of saving Peach and nothing more. The world themes are also the same, however they do feel slightly different from the other games if you ask me. We still have the usual grass, desert, snow, you get the idea, but they're made ever so slightly different to give some unique attributes to the levels. Like the snow world is set at night and it has the northern lights, making this a beautiful stage. Halfway through the forest world, we get sent to this haunted forest area where one of the levels looks like a Van Gogh painting. Many areas in the desert world have giant cakes in the background. You know, it's the little things that make New Super Mario Bros. Use level environments feel ever so slightly different from how they were in the original game. They're not substantial changes, but I can see the effort to at least try to make things feel somewhat different this time around. Every world has a name too, and most of them are named after food. We have names like Layer Cake Desert, Frosted Glacier, Sparkling Waters, Soda Jungle, Rock Candy Mines, Peach's Castle. Does this change anything? No, not really. But it's funny, and honestly, if anything, it gives the game more of an identity. One of the most substantial changes when it comes to the world environments in this game is how they're all connected on one giant map. Now, connected is kind of an exaggeration, I will admit. There is a very clear divide when it comes to where one world ends and another one begins, but I still kind of like this, because it only further contributes to the goal of working our way back to Peach's castle. But otherwise, the art style of the level environments in Mario U is perfectly compensated by the HD graphics. The game does look very nice. As for the actual level design, it's complicated. I would say it's a mix of the level design from Wii and DS if I could put it into words. Things aren't as open as they are in the Wii game, but they aren't as compact as the DS version. I would say there's much more stuff to do in this game compared to the Wii version, as in that game, Nintendo kind of overcompensated for the amount of space needed for multiplayer. In U, it's much more saturated. A lot is going on in some of these levels. Unique stage gimmicks, good flow, and fun set pieces. It all makes for a pretty decent experience. However, all of this has already been done before, so is it all that different? I'll tell you what is different though. The star coins and secret exits. What happened here, man? I've seen a lot of other reviewers saying that most of the star coins and secret exits in this game are in the worst places imaginable, and before replaying the game for this video, I never found that to be an issue, but after playing the game again, I can say with 100% confidence that the star coin placement in this game is abysmal. Most of them are hidden behind fake walls and hidden blocks.
Yeah, dude, like, they expect you to be able to find these hidden blocks, these hidden paths. Like, I had to watch videos to find where these stupid star coins were at, bro. They genuinely had no clue what they were doing. They low-key just like, okay, we're going to put a fake wall right here. They're gonna have to like type in their security number to open it somehow using Doctor Strange's force powers. It's going to take them to the fabric of time, and they're gonna be shot into the Star Wars universe.
Where's the fun in that? Some of these things are in the most random spots to the point where I don't think anybody would have guessed to look in these locations on a normal playthrough. Secret exits I can kind of excuse because those have always been in wacky spots, but star coins, come on, this is ridiculous. Similar to previous games, the secret exits let you skip over worlds. However, before getting access to the other world, you need to play through a secret level that is usually based on a different world theme compared to the world the level is in. World 1's secret level takes place in World 3, World 2 takes place in World 4, and so on. This is great. I love this. These levels give you a taste of what you're missing out on before skipping the world entirely, and that's honestly pretty smart. It tells the player, hey, are you sure you want to skip all of this stuff? At least, that's how I see it. I'm all for making the secret levels different from the others because otherwise, why would they be secret levels? The controls are also basically the same, no surprise there, but the spin returns from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which is very nice to see. Also, I don't know if this is just me, but the physics feel floatier in a way. Everything just feels much more fluid in this game if I could put it into words. Not sure if that's just some weird placebo thing, but compared to Wii, which I played right before this game, the controls feel much lighter, but I don't know for sure. The main new power-up in this game is the Acorn Suit, and I gotta give credit where credit is due. Out of all of the new power-ups presented in the new Super Mario Bros. Series, this is one of the most versatile. Its main use is gliding, which is very useful for covering long distances with minimal effort. It is a blast finding ways to skip entire chunks of levels using this thing. And shaking the Wii Remote mid-flight also gives you a little boost in the air, which at times can save you from dying. I love this power-up, I do, but unfortunately, this is the only new power-up in the game. Kinda. The game also adds baby Yoshis, which are found all over the world map. These guys are just power-ups that you have to carry, like regular Yoshis, which are also in the game, by the way. These guys still eat enemies, but they do have differences as well. The pink baby Yoshi inflates and allows you to float and gain some height. The blue baby Yoshi shoots bubbles to trap enemies.
I think the pink is much more useful than the blue because it like floats and you get to be like, you know, have a bit of air time before you like die. The air corn, are you serious, bro?
And items, and then the yellow baby Yoshi glows to light up the whole damn room. This is the only one that you can't take with you to the world map because not every level is dark. But yeah, with the blue and pink Yoshis, you can take them wherever you damn well please. I wish they let you take regular Yoshi with you too though, but are the baby Yoshis useful power-ups? No, especially with the acorn suit, but they're still a respectable addition. The propeller shroom and penguin suit from New Super Mario Bros. Wii also return in this game, but only in the special world. This honestly makes perfect sense. The penguin suit doesn't have a purpose in this game other than looking cool, and the propeller shroom's whole purpose is completely overshadowed by the acorn suit, which does similar things. So saving these for little post-game secrets is more than I could ask for. It's still really cool how they brought them back at all. But yeah, I guess it's a good time to talk about the special world, Superstar Road. This is very similar to the Wii version special world, as levels are unlocked every time you collect all the star coins in each world. And these levels are some of the most fun in the entire game. They're very challenging at times, which is to be expected from a special world, but the way they're executed is what makes them stand out. They use the game's mechanics in ways that aren't used by any of the other levels in the game. And if you ask me, I think Nintendo took notes from these levels when creating the next game we're talking about. Every once in a while, this new character Nabbit would show up in one of the levels, where you would have to catch him before he hit the finish line.
I fucking hate Nabbit, bro. This guy would be so annoying. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, I gotta save him. Like, gotta save the items. Like, dude, this guy would never stop stealing. Like, I feel like he stole the same shop like 3 times.
But don't worry, these are stupidly easy to complete. Most of the time I caught this guy.
They were easy, but I did hate how many times I had to do it. Because I was like, okay, well, I guess I should do it, right? I mean, you had a choice if you want to do it or not, but I felt like I had to do it.
Within the first 10 seconds of the level. It's merely a time waster. Is what I would say if you didn't get a P acorn as a reward. This power-up is very useful in specific situations, as it has all of the features the regular acorn has, but it allows you to use an infinite glide. It's a very broken power-up, so you can only use it in one level and then it disappears. So you have to use it wisely, but they're pretty easy to get considering what you must do to gather them up. There are also 2 bosses per world, sometimes even 3, and they're the Koopalings yet again. Dear lord, man. The fights do have new mechanics and new gimmicks and all that good stuff, but man, at this point, I'm not even...
Also favorite, I think Roy is also my favorite in this one too.
Even gonna lie, the Koopalings have gotten kinda stale. The mid-world tower fights, however, feature Boom Boom straight from Super Mario 3. This is a very surprising inclusion. I just wish the fights lasted for more than 2 seconds. All you have to do is jump on him, wait for him to get up, and jump on him again. When you hit him, he stays in the same place, so it's the easiest thing ever to just hit him as he gets right back up. These are some of the easiest fights in the entire series, and I cannot stress that enough. But overall, the bosses in this game are very lackluster. They're not bad by any means, but they're stupidly easy and generally soulless. The 4-player co-op also returns in this game, but due to the level...
Oh my god, why does it look like that? Is it just weird, or do I feel like the frame drops really bad when you do the 4-player?
Design differences from the Wii version. Playing this game with 4 people is a little too chaotic for my liking, but playing this game with 2 to 3 people is fine enough. But you can also play this game with 5 players through the game's brand new Boost Mode feature. What is Boost Mode, you may ask? Well, you just tap on the gamepad screen to make blocks appear. Real question. Who would want to be the guy on the gamepad? Seriously, this is a fine way to utilize the Wii U gamepad's features in this game. However, I can't help but think of so many other ways the gamepad's features could have been incorporated into the actual game. Just look at Super Mario 3D World. Several levels in that game have you blow into the microphone, tap on the screen, and all of that stuff. Why couldn't the levels in New Super Mario Bros. U incorporate stuff like that? I understand people like using just the Wii remote for this game. I do too, but I feel like incorporating the gamepad in more levels would not only make for a good way to demonstrate the console's capabilities, but would also allow the game to feel substantially different from the rest. But Boost Mode is just kinda there. It doesn't add anything to the pack. Outside of the main campaign, we also have some extra modes. The first one is Challenge Mode. This mode allows you to complete challenges in 5 separate sub-modes. We have Time Attack, Coin Collection, 1-Up Rallies, Special, and Boost Mode challenges. These are a pretty fun way to test your skills, and it gives some extra stuff for you to do when you're bored of the main game. It's kind of fun going for gold rankings on all of these things, as they get pretty challenging at times. We also have Boost Rush, fun going for...
Especially when you get to use your own, like, me face. I find that so fun.
gold rankings on all of these things, as they get pretty challenging at times. We also have Boost Rush and Coin Rush. Coin Rush I couldn't try out because I'm lonely, but apparently you just compete with another player to collect as many coins as possible. Boost Rush puts you in these auto-scroller levels, but as you collect coins, the level speeds up. This is a fine addition. I appreciate the effort to provide some extra content nonetheless. If you're looking for a challenge, I highly recommend checking out some of these modes.
Aren't they in airships? How are they out there?
But yeah, other than that, there's not much else to say about New Super Mario Bros. U. This was the nail in the coffin for the series, because even though this game is pretty decent in its own right, it suffered from a lack of pure originality. This was yet another game that blended in.
I want to point out again, I don't know how they could be original. It's a New Super Mario game. It's just going to be the same formula every time.
The rest, and at this point, hope was being lost.
They want something new.
Like this series was bound to die out after this game was released, which sucked because there was so much potential to be realized with this franchise. What we needed was a completely new spin on New Super Mario Bros., but it seemed like that wasn't going to happen until Nintendo dropped it as DLC one day. New Super Luigi U is one of the most polarizing games in the history of Mario games. Out of every New Super Mario Bros. Game, this is the one that feels different from the rest, and that's due to numerous reasons. The year 2013 was dubbed the Year of Luigi, and to celebrate, Nintendo dropped a new Luigi's Mansion game.
By the way, the best Luigi's game,
merchandise, and most notably, a full DLC expansion for New Super Mario Bros. U called New Super Luigi U. But make no mistake, this isn't just an extra level pack, but rather, this game has the same number of levels as New Super Mario Bros. U. That's insane. Because of this, Nintendo felt the need to drop a physical release as well, which I bought because it looked cool. Anyway, what's the deal with this game, and what makes it so different from Mario U? Well, for one, Mario is nowhere to be found in this game. All that remains is his hat on the table. The title of the game even has bros crossed out. Like, is Mario f***ing dead? But other than that...
Maybe Luigi finally snapped just fucking when they were showing up to the party. Luigi just like waterboarded him or some shit. Pretend like they're hugging and be like... Mikey, Mikey!
The story remains the same. The world map is also the same with the same world themes and all that good stuff. The power-ups and bosses are also the same, and apart from the removal of all of the extra modes, the things that Luigi U does differently are the controls and the level designs, which is understandable because this was just supposed to be a DLC expansion. But yeah, you heard that right. Luigi controls much differently than Mario. He has a high jump, which is much floatier than Mario's, and his physics are very light, which causes him to slide on the terrain, instead of coming to a complete stop. While these seem like minor additions, that is far from true. Luigi's different controls in this game are such a nice breath of fresh air. Remember, up until this point, we have been playing the same gameplay style for damn near a decade. It is so nice to finally have a different control style that allows them to do new things in the level design. Well, I guess we should talk about the level design in this game. Every level in this game is set on a timer of 100 seconds. Now, that may seem like a strict time limit, but it's not. For one, these are 100 full seconds, not the weird Mario seconds that are present in the base game. On top of that, these levels are very short, so often you'll find yourself finishing them with more than enough time to spare. Despite this, there's still a sense of urgency in these levels, which causes you to want to speed through them as quickly as possible. And the best thing about that change is the fact that these levels are built around speedrunning. As someone who has always loved running through levels in New Super Mario Bros. Wii as fast as possible, this is exactly what I needed. It is an absolute blast trying to complete these levels as quickly as possible without taking damage.
Yeah, see, I don't like that. I fuck with the idea, but I don't like the concept of having to just speedrun the whole time.
When you manage to do a flawless run in one of these levels, it feels so satisfying, trust me. But there is a trade-off to the fast-paced level design. These levels are pretty difficult at times, and that's by no means a complaint. I love the difficult level design this game offers because it makes it even more challenging to master the gameplay. And even for first-time players who suck at the game, it's still a load of fun practicing the levels. There are so many obstacles and hazards placed in the right spots to the point where you need to time your jumps perfectly to avoid them. The whole design philosophy of this game is what makes it the most fun out of every game we've talked about. If I had one complaint about the level design, it would be the Star Coin and Secret X placement. Holy shit, man, this is even worse than the original game. You will not be able to find a lot of these things without looking up a walkthrough on YouTube. I would bet money on that. There were times where you had to ground pound a random ass spot in the ground to get a Star Coin. No indication tells me, hey, you should...
Oh yeah, let me just... Let me just find a... Oh, magic wall! A star coin! Break a random brick on the ground.
Probably ground pound here. I was on a call with some friends while playing this game, and one of them started dying laughing when I showed him where one of these star coins was.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Why are you laughing so damn loudly?
It's a funny
What
concept.
What is so funny? How on earth was I supposed to find that? And it wouldn't be an issue if the star coins didn't matter, but like Mario U, these are required to unlock the World 9 levels, which are the best in the entire game. But oh well, I guess guides are always there. Nabbit also returns in this game, but since Mario isn't in the game, he's playable. Even in single player, if you hold down a specific button combo before hopping into a level, you can play as Nabbit. This guy is just the cheat mode pretty much. He's completely invincible, like literally, he can't take damage at all. Because of this, he also can't use power-ups, but instead, when he collects them, they get turned into lives at the end of the level. That's a cool feature, but for me, lives weren't really an issue. Because this game is difficult, Nintendo felt the need to spam 1-up mushrooms all over the levels. So you'll still be able to rack them up without getting a game over. But
Yeah.
this is a cool concept for a 4th player. Unfortunately, because of this, when playing with 4 people, someone is required to play the easy mode, which is no fun. But
Right.
overall, Luigi U is a fantastic game. It just kinda sucks how this one was the least popular out of all of them. It was initially released as just DLC for Mario U.
Yeah, no one talks about Luigi U. I don't think I found a single person that actually is like just will genuinely go up to me like, yo, you remember Luigi U? That shit was fire, bro.
So naturally, not many people were going to buy it. It's a damn shame too, because if more people bought this game, it could have sent the new Super Mario Bros. Series in a new direction. But because of its obscurity, there was never another installment in the series. And instead, Nintendo resorted to whatever the hell this was.
I have this game.
New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Why? After 6 years of nothing related to New Super Mario Bros. Content, Nintendo decided the best idea would be to port New Super Mario Bros. U to the Switch and give it the deluxe treatment. The thing was, this wasn't a true deluxe port as it didn't add any content. The main selling point of this entire package was the fact that it included New Super Mario Bros. U and Luigi U, which didn't make any sense because there were already bundles that existed on the Wii U that included both of the games on one disc, making this whole marketing scheme pointless. But there are some very minor additions to this game. First of all, on top of every character, including Nabbit being playable in single player mode in both New Super Mario Bros. U and Luigi U, we have a new character to the series, Toadette. Right off the bat, it's entirely clear that Toadette is in easy mode. Her controls are more grounded, she can't slip on ice, and she swims like a penguin. Also, in Luigi U, when playing as her, she adds 100 seconds to the timer. All of these attributes were added to Nabbit as well, making Nabbit the easiest option to choose from since,
Most
again,
useless
he's
Mario
invincible. However, Toadette can also use this new Super Crown power-up, which turns her into Peachette. In this form, Toadette can float and high jump, kinda like the squirrel suit. While this is a cool addition for people wanting a simpler experience, the problem is that these power-ups still show up when you're not using Toadette. That's a problem. I don't want Super Crown power-ups filling up my inventory when I can't even use them as f***ing Luigi. I understand when playing multiplayer, you would want to give the Toadette player the
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Like, why do they genuinely do that? Like, you're playing Luigi, and then you get the Toadette power-up, and now it just fills your slot, and you can't use any other power-up. Like, bro, what do you want me to do? Just let it rot in my pocket? Oh, shoot.
they serve no purpose. Also, to make it even worse, one of the most baffling decisions to me was the fact that they put Yellow Toad and Blue Toad in the same slot. Hell, a lot of people thought Blue Toad was just removed from the game until someone discovered that pressing R on the character select screen lets you play as Blue Toad. The problem with them being on the same slot is that when playing multiplayer, you cannot have a player using Yellow Toad and another using Blue Toad simultaneously, meaning that if you're playing
You're just changing colors.
with 4 players, someone is forced to play as one of the easy characters. Where's the fun in that? How hard would it have been to add another character slot for Blue Toad? You can leave Nabbit and Toadette as easy modes, that's fine, but at least make it so they're not required when playing with 4 people. Also, when you beat a level with Nabbit, the world map dot will turn purple, which basically tells the player, hey, come beat the level normally, you pussy. Another weird change is that they map twirl to the jump button, meaning that double tapping the button lets you do the mid-air spin. This is a huge problem because it's very easy to to accidentally hit the A button when trying to make tricky jumps. I can see why they added this. When playing with a detached Joy-Con horizontally, the R and L buttons are pretty difficult to press, but the motion controls are still in this version of the game, so why not just do that? Thankfully, you can disable this new feature by holding down both sticks on the title screen, but why is the option to disable it locked behind a cheat code? I didn't even know this option existed for the longest time until I saw a YouTube video talking about it. But oh well, at least the option is there regardless. Also, boost mode and the boost challenges were removed altogether. This still would have been a cool option.
Oh, and they still have the fucking penguin power up.
Handheld mode, but oh well, they weren't that good in the first place. But yeah, that's it for New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. This was just a cash grab, and because of the removed features, I wouldn't be surprised if someone said they preferred the original game over this one. The only addition at the end of the day is an easy mode, which wasn't needed because the game was already pretty damn easy, so not many people are going to use Toadette, especially in New Super Mario Bros. U. Luigi U is a different story, but whatever. Top it off with the fact that this game to this day is still at the full $60 price tag, and this shit is damn near a scam, but
it's the same fucking game, and it's 60 bucks.
After this, the New Super Mario Bros. Series was officially over. The next 2D Mario adventure wouldn't come out until 4 years later, and Mario Wonder is a completely new direction for 2D Mario games, with no new title in sight. Man, it just kinda sucks. What started as a fun return to form for the series became a yearly cash grab for Nintendo. And when the series started to show promise and innovation again, they just flat out killed it altogether. And despite the negativity I gave these games throughout the video's runtime, I still find myself enjoying them quite a bit. But when looking at them in retrospect, they were all really the same, minus Luigi U, of course. If you ask me, from an unbiased standpoint, the worst one in the series is probably Mario U, and the best one is Luigi U. Kinda crazy how that worked out. But there you have it, y'all. That's the downfall of New Super Mario Bros. I hope you all enjoyed this massive video, and let me know what you all think about these games.
W. Shout out to SF Productions, bro. W.